Absolutely. And so the other thing that Vic was saying was P.R.O. Make sure that you sign up with your performing rights organization. And what I'm doing, Vic, and I've tried to explain it on several different occasions. Can you explain to people in as simplistic as you can what actually the P.R.O. does for the producer or the musician?
Well, for example, if you have, let's say one of your songs gets major airplay in several different countries, basically what they do is they're like the spider that crawls out and see if your song is playing wherever it's playing at. You know, because you can't be there physically, they're basically those eyes and ears for you that's gonna help collect performance fees. If your song's playing on the radio, if a network picks up your record and it's playing on a network, they're gonna make sure that they collect those performance fees for you, and so that you can get a check. You know, so of course, yes, they're in the business to make money, so you know they're gonna get their percentage out of collecting they can take their fee. That would be fantastic. As long as I get my money, right, it's all good. Right. So that's what because you can't be everywhere at one time. That's right. They're basically those feet for you. That's gonna be, you know, have their ears out because they want to make money. So they're gonna make sure anything that's in their catalog that's signed up, and you know, basically with their company. They're basically out to help, you know, basically out there to help protect us as producers and artists, as musicians, I should say. You know, they're there for us to help us because we couldn't physically do it ourselves.
Go out and get
all the money that's owed to us. So we couldn't. It's impossible for us to do it.
That's a fact.
You know, unless you had millions and millions and millions of dollars to create a platform that does that. You'd be better off just signing up like everyone else does.
That's right.
So that they can collect the money for you and pay you.
That's right. And so those are the three things that we're talking about right now. And those are the top three things that we feel you're going to do or you should be doing. And just for a brief synopsis, to go further on what Vic was saying, the P.R.Os back in the days, what they would do is they issue blanket licenses to radio stations or radio networks. And what a blanket license is, they would make them pay a flat fee in order to license their catalog. So they had thousands of artists and thousands of musicians that are a part of their organization. They would allow these radio stations to have access to it and just pay a flat fee.
Right.
And then how you were determined how you got paid was the amount of spins that you acquired on the radio stations when those reports are turned back in.
Right.
And so that's just to give you guys a brief overview of exactly how that works. And like Vic said, they allow you to be able to basically, you know what I mean, you are hiring 1 million people to go out,
right?
You know, and make agreements for you on your behalf. So it's very important that if you guys have not signed up with the P.R.O, make sure you do. And as a matter of fact, you don't know this. When you go to my website, what I do is basically give you the first thing artists never do. I literally have a book that I wrote called The First Thing Artists Never Do, and it's outlining that. And because that's so amazing to me, man. Like you said earlier, running across guys, you know, matter of fact, I think they did an interview. I don't want to call no artist's name out, but he didn't even know what a P.R.O was. He didn't even know what publishing was. And this dude sold millions of records.
Really?
Man. Yes.
Wow.
I ain't calling no names, but y'all do the research and find out, man.
Wow.
Y'all do the research.
Wow, so I mean that just goes to show, even, you know, artists that are quote unquote established or have major deals, still a lot of them still don't understand the inner workings of the business. I remember when I met Prodigy and Havoc back in the early '90s when they after their first album released. One of my cousins is her boyfriend was their road DJ, so you know that's how I met those guys. Right. And at the time, matter of fact, it was '97 because I released my Bigg Vic album in '97 on cassette tape, and you know, I gave it to P, and P was checking it out, was actually listening to it right outside of Havoc's house. And the P was looking at it, he was like, man, you know, like, wow. He said, man, how'd you get this done? Like, how'd you get this pressed up? Like, what companies you went through? So that even back then, that showed me that, you know, even though artists are in the business, they still don't understand the inner workings of the business, because once you sign as an artist, you're in the studio and just recording.
Right.
That's it.
Right. It's most a hands-off situation.
It's a hands-off situation. Everybody else handles everything else.
Right.
So you really don't know or understand how to, you know, call up these companies. Or back then it was Piecemakerz, and I used a company out of Canada to press up, you know, my first 500 cassette tapes of my album.
Right.
You know, these guys didn't know anything about how to go about doing any of this stuff.
Right.
You know, they were just artists. So, and that's still going on to this day when it comes to, you know, artists not really understanding how the business works.
Yeah.
You know, this business is pretty much like going to school. You know, that's what you should be doing.
Right.
You know, as versus going to a college for 4, 8 years, 12 years, however long you're going to college. But really, you should be really understanding and digging down, and all the intricacies. You should be digging down deep and finding out how this game works.
Yeah.
Because trust me when I tell you, this is one of the most vicious
notoriously
games
vicious
that you can get involved with. And if you don't understand what's going on, there's somebody waiting for you to take almost every single dollar that you could generate for them.
Yeah. And that's proven, man. Like, and for, let me go back for you millennials, a cassette tape was a little audio device that carried your media.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
That you put into a little radio, a little machine. And anyway, man, go Google cassette tape, because we got to be realistic about that, man.
Absolutely.
A lot of these cats, man, we gonna say some things like y'all young heads ain't gonna
like
know,
they don't
man.
understand.
Hey,
They
a
don't
cassette
understand.
tape, a ADAT, what's that?
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
But no, man, you know, the proof is in the pudding with like shit, we got countless proofs, you know, when it comes to like artists and musicians, you know, from all of the old heads, TLC, you know, especially TLC. That's the best, I think, example.
That's a great example
of not knowing your business and being ripped off. These girls sold hundreds of millions.
Yes.
Okay, of songs or albums, and to this day, I think, you know, what I mean, they might just be getting over.
Right.
Living. But that's the best example, man. And I like to liken it to, like, I'll tell you something. Me and you cannot be convinced to get on a plane with someone, okay, and all he knows how to do is steer.
Right.
That's it. You know what I mean? He can't land.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
He don't know how to take off.
No possible way.
He don't know what the buttons are.
Right.
What does this? How does he don't know the procedures to landing and what the tower is? And you're like, what's that? That's the tower. Those are landing lights over there. Bro, I'm not getting an airplane.
Right. Absolutely not.
Because it's an explosion, an accident, a crash bound to happen, man.
Waiting to
happen, man.
Exactly.
So, you know, guys, me and Vic, you know, both agreed, man, that you guys really need to understand this and stop taking it for granted. And when you want examples of successful people, look at the Taylor Swifts, look at the Chance the Rappers, look at the people who have taken their careers in their own hands,
right,
and really had to dig in and learn. Now, mind you, the things that they did not know, they employed other people to know, but eventually they had to get past that learning curve and get it in and understand how these points work, how distribution work, how marketing work, you know, how P.R.Os work, all these different things, man. It's the core element of your music business, because regardless of how talented you are a product. And when you become the product of your job and what you want to know, you should want to know everything about how you get paid. You don't want to leave no crack or crevice, you know what I mean, uncovered where money could slip through.
Absolutely.
You know, that could be making you millions of dollars, you know? So.
Correct.